This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Released September 23rd, 2024. Episode 677. What is the deal?
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
With a microphone that kind of sort of works?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. I apologize. You know, I had announced long ago that my AT2020 gave up the ghost. And yeah, I'm now between microphones. I'm on my Zoom H6. So, you know, feedback welcome, but not that much feedback. Let's be honest. I mean, like,
no pun intended. All right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I have a problem with mine. I've got a Rode, what is it, a pod mic? Yes,
Yeah,
pod mic.
Podcaster NT.
No, pod mic USB, which is
Pod
different.
mic USB.
Yes, it's a USB version. And while it's a perfectly fine mic, I think there's a discrepancy with Windows somehow, and I'm hearing it in my video playbacks. You know, because I listen to my damn voice every single day. And
You thought it was bad for you folks.
yeah, try editing like 3,000, 4,000 videos or something. Listen with
I'm not
your own
locked in
voice.
here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Yep. And so there's some little artifact in it that I have not been able to narrow down. So I'm not sure what the hell it is. I'm not sure if it comes across on the Amp Hour or not, but I don't know. I can't even describe it. It's some weird compression-y kind of thing.
Is it the thing where you say words funny and like
aluminum?
Oh,
right. That's that accent feature of these Aussie mics.
That's right.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem. Yes,
Turn
it's
off
Australian-made rubbish. Yeah.
Turn off the AI, the Australian interference.
Oh boy, I haven't done the AI voice thing for a while because I tried out. You know,
everything's
still
garbage, Dave.
It's still garbage. Yeah, everything AI is garbage these days. Yeah, it was all hype. Yep.
There's a lot of hype. You know, it's still coming, right? It's still coming forward. It's coming
hot and
fast,
but it's not, you know. I think we may have even already reached peak AI.
Nah.
You know?
Maybe.
Because it is not smart. AI is not smart, and it's not going to get smart. That's what I'm betting on.
No, I think it'll get smarter. It'll do interesting things. It's going to be interesting, but I think there actually might even be some like leaps, you know? Whether or not I care about it, that's the real question.
Yeah, right. I don't
that's
think
going to take my job even more? Is that what we're hearing? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so maybe I should get back in and try the voice thing, you know, how it emulates my voice. Like I trained it on my voice. I used like 3 or 4 different ones. This was like a year and a half ago or something. And I trained it with my voice. I even went through their online training thing where you say certain words and everything, and it tries to simulate the voice, and it was shit. It was shit. What, concise summary. Hello? Nope.
Damn, sorry, I was muted.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
Oh, he's muted.
Trying to adjust
there you go.
my audio down. Yep.
Should we edit that out or leave it in for the confused people at home?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's great. It gets like our real vibe of Chris is muting himself all the time, and Dave is answering the door to get packages, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's all
that real
wife's calling me
office.
up, or Yeah,
exactly.
Or I get a spam. Usually it's a spam call these days.
Oh yeah, a lot of spam calls.
Are you getting spam calls much?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I just sold a house, and all your information goes online.
Yep.
Buying, selling houses. Like, I applied for a mortgage here in the U.S., and I probably got 150 calls within 3 days.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you go onto a public database or something, do you?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was actually my lender, the one I had chosen, and I was going through with. I thought they actually sold my info, but no, it's just on the
public thing, yeah. Right.
Why you need a phone number attached to that, I have no idea.
Wow.
And then you like all these people call you up and they're like, yeah, we can offer you the exact same rate that you have currently.
Oh, wow, they're trying to scalp the other.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
We don't
Not
have
how I would
any.
describe it, but yeah.
Haven't bought a house in a while, but it's I'd never experienced it, had never heard of anything like that here.
Yeah.
So, but it happens for
on the
other
bell
things.
of the ball.
It just happened to me, a mobile phone, right? We finally, I know I've entered the 1990s or something, but we no longer have a home phone, like an actual landline phone.
Wow.
Even though it wasn't a landline, we haven't had a landline for like 15 years,
like
but we still had the VoIP. Yeah, we still had the VoIP thing.
Yeah, totally.
And then we did some remodeling and we took down, the phone had to come out. And so we've been without the phone for like a year and we didn't even notice. And we realized, what the hell have we got this home phone for? Yeah. Like, why are we paying?
Well, receiving
10
spam
bucks
calls,
a month.
don't forget that. Yeah.
Right. And so we finally decided, no, so I got one of my old mobiles out of the drawer, dusted it off, and got one of those little charging stands, it's got the Wi-Fi charger on it.
Sure.
And so we thought we'd use that. So I got a brand new SIM card. I bought a brand new SIM card with a supposedly brand new number, and we got that. And the first day it was switched on. So we're using that as the home phone now, just like an emergency home phone, so that the kids can use it if we're out, because our kids don't have a shoe phone, by the way.
Yeah.
So can I please get acknowledgement and a pat on the back that my 13-year-old child does not have nor does not want a smartphone?
Oh, see, now that second one, that was the surprising thing. Okay.
Yes, does not want. Does not want. Yeah. Yes, where's my Parent of the Year award, please?
What generation is your kids? I don't know.
They're a Z.
It's the next one.
Yeah, it'd be Z. None of those Z rubbish.
Is it past Z? No?
No, 2013.
Okay.
Which is, I think, technically Gen Z. Yeah.
I think they're looping around maybe to Alpha or something like that.
Yeah, something. It's very, it's borderline, but
all the listicles and stuff they're being written now.
Right.
How is Gen Alpha different than Gen Z? Gen Z.
Oh, boy.
Who cares?
Gen X all the way with LBJ. Yep. Sorry.
Anyway. That is impressive, though, that kids doesn't want
one. Anyway, we started getting spam calls. Like, on this brand new number. Like, what
They're more dialing. Come on, there's just, 001.
Right. It's
002.
random, you think. Okay.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right. Well, I thought, maybe we magically entered some database somewhere because we registered a new phone,
No.
Or maybe it's a recycled number. Like, do they actually recycled? I don't know. But, like first day, started getting bloody spam calls. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's so sad when they're not actually targeting you.
Yeah. That's what you really want. You want to feel special, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like they actually,
you want to be the only person who sent a very fancy scope, not all the YouTube influencers. By the way, Keysight, I'm waiting for my HD3. By the way, I saw Dave got one. Oh yeah,
I
Dave
got one.
Gets one.
I got one like 12 hours before it was released. Thank you very much.
Customs, customs is tough.
But I once again, can I have a pat on the back, please? I did an unboxing and first impressions review video that was like 50 minutes long or something. And I did that all within 24 hours.
Okay, that's impressive.
And I still went to the gym. I still dropped the kids off at school. I still went to
Dave and I were supposed to record last night and we got our wires crossed. And so instead I watched Dave on video. And then I went to bed.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed seeing inside of there, but you put into the video, Dave's doing the teardown, usual.
Oh, the teardown was later. The teardown was a different.
Whatever, that's what I was watching.
Was my
but you said there was like a little thing on the screen that said, wait until later in the video. What's under these heat sinks is actually something. I don't know. And then you didn't actually explain it. So what is under those heat sinks?
Yes, I did. I did explain it. You probably didn't watch the full video, dude.
I watched the whole thing, man.
Dude. I explained it. Like, I couldn't physically get the heat sinks off, by the way.
Yeah, I knew that. Okay.
Yeah, but I guessed what was under there because I thought, there was 2 new 14-bit analog to digital converter chips and there was the new MegaZoom 5 ASIC, right? Because there were
MegaZoom 5 ASIC
there were 3 heatsink chips. No, but I explained
MegaZoom 5.
MegaZoom 5, yes.
Yes, MegaZoom 5.
Waited 13 years for that, by the way. 13 years.
MegaZoom 5.
Yep. 13 years between the MegaZoom 4 and the MegaZoom 5. Wow. It's like a long time. Anyway, I came to the conclusion that no, it must be an all-in-one scope chip. So it must contain the 14-bit ADC and the new MegaZoom 5 ASIC all in the one chip. And there's 2 of them.
Because you were talking about FPGAs at one point. I know we were talking.
Yeah.
People can go watch this.
You didn't watch my video closely enough.
We'll link this in. Yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, I didn't take notes.
And then even further in the video.
Because you started talking about an FPGA, and I had thought maybe that underneath the cans was all FPGAs, and they were just processing memory stuff.
No. Okay. There's only one FPGA in there, and that's not the MegaZoom 5 ASIC. So it is. And then further on in the video, that you obviously didn't
I
watch
totally
thoroughly.
watched it. I want my money back. YouTube, hello. Yes, YouTube. I watched a stupid
cut
ad.
you off at the 10-minute mark or something.
I would like to reclaim the revenue that Dave got from that one.
that
what am I-
0.0001 cent.
I am 1/1000th of a CPM. I would
Yep.
like that money back, please.
I even confirmed with
You are
Keysight halfway.
why I have an ad blocker, sir.
Anyway, I confirmed with Keysight halfway through making that video that yes, it's an all-in-one. My theory was correct. It's an all-in-one scope chip. So it's probably a hybrid chip. I still haven't heard back because it's unlikely, I think, that you do a leading-edge 14-bit 1 gig bandwidth.
That's what I'm talking
analog
about. You
to
said
digital converter.
later in the video, I'm going to tell you what this is, and then you said, "Oh, Keysight didn't get back to me." So I think I'm right here.
I did get back. Even later on in the video,
You
I
know what?
literally said
I'm not,
Keysight got back to me, and my suspicions were confirmed.
Nope.
Dude,
I'm not,
I know. I shot it. I know
want
what
my
I
money
said,
back.
and I know what I
want my money
edited.
back. I want my money back.
Unbelievable. Anyway, yes, it's an all-in-one scope chip, which is very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
So
it
has to be a hybrid.
I'm sure if Daniel's listening, I really didn't like all the HD3 stuff of a month worth of YouTube influencers and LinkedIn influencers being like, "Oh, look, it's a box." Wasn't a fan of that personally.
Oh, there weren't hundreds of them. There were only like a couple. weren't
Whoever
there?
it was, I wasn't a huge fan.
There was a couple.
But-
Medi did it, and
No,
there was
there was
another
other ones
one which
on
I hadn't
LinkedIn.
heard of before. He's only got like
Yeah, I just
5,000
wasn't a
subs or
fan.
something. I hadn't heard of him before, but he did something.
Yeah, yep.
So
Wasn't
yeah.
a fan, but the scope looks good. I don't get it though. So the 14-bit thing,
Yep.
you know, I'm not a test equipment person. Do you need this? Does anyone need this? Why is this a
Yes.
thing? It's
For
just
well,
for-
why is 12-bit a thing? Why
Well,
don't
it's
we
a
stick
thing
with
because
8 bits?
It's better than 10-bit, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Why not?
14 bits
why
better
not
than
one?
12 bits.
Why not one?
But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything unless you've got a correspondingly lower noise floor, right?
Yeah, totally.
And this one does. It has half the noise floor of the
Sure.
previous versions.
But here's the thing. So when is an application? So I need the dynamic range of 14 bits. Right?
Okay. If you watch my review video, I show an example in there where I actually pick a 15 microvolt signal out of the noise, or sub 15 microvolt signal out of the noise floor of the spectrum, right? And then I did an A/B comparison with a 12-bit scope, and I couldn't see that same signal, right? So it
that's not
popped
bad.
out.
Yeah,
so it
that's not
popped
bad.
out of the noise, right? Because of the 14-bit converter. So, yep. All things being equal.
Do I
of
care
course.
about I mean, that's the thing. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not using scopes much. My scopes are still in a box, I should
Look,
say.
for some applications, yes, you are going to care. It's going to be a big
should
deal.
not send me a scope. That's what I'm really trying to say.
It's a big deal if
Got it.
you have the application for it. If you don't have the application, 12-bit's going to be just fine. The leap from 8-bit to 12-bit was pretty big. You know,
Yeah. Sure,
the leap
sure,
from 12-bit to 14-bit is smaller, but they've now set the benchmark. So I guess you're probably going to eventually see 14. It may take a year or two, but you might eventually see 14-bit converters going into other scopes, even if you don't actually need it. It's going to be a marketing thing, right?
Yeah.
Roden Schwartz, Tech are going to have to go, well,
They had the 12, right? Rode had the 12 first. Is that right?
No, they weren't first
Or
with the 12-bit.
Teledyne. LaCroix maybe had a 12 first.
Oh, guy,
I remember someone talking about 12, and I same reaction at the time. Again, I'm not the target audience here. I don't need this stuff.
Rigol were first with the low cost 12-bit.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
So,
yep.
yeah. Anyway, it doesn't really.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Here's actually I can go
Well,
ask you a question.
no. Hang on. 12 bits were always a thing in USB scopes, right? USB scope, 12 bits, like even 16 bits are still a thing,
Okay.
but it's bandwidth, right? It's all about the bandwidth.
right. It's how much you can see in the noise at a high speed. You're saying, right?
At a high sample rate, yes, a high frequency,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
It's all about band. Anyone can do 16, but you put a 24-bit
24-bit,
ADC
there
in a
you go.
scope if you
Just
want.
Slow it down.
If you want like 20
RADC.
kilohertz bandwidth,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
seriously.
Turn on electrometer, right? Just see the
right.
signal's moving slow enough.
Single electron. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not the target audience. Okay. But I just thought of a place I can go see and ask these questions. Ooh, segue. I am going to Embedded World North America, which is a brand new conference this year.
Where's that at?
That is in my old town, Austin, Texas.
Oh,
It'll be the first
okay.
time I'm back in Texas since.
Is it normally in Texas or is it normally in?
Well, Dave, if
Silicon
you listened
Valley?
to my review just now, you would know that I said this was the first time they're having this conference.
Oh, right. The first, yes. Okay. well, the first time. Okay, it's the first time.
That's what you said about your video. If you watch the whole thing, yeah.
No, I think this was a thing before.
Embedded World is a thing, yes, but that has always been in Nuremberg. This is the first time it's ever been.
Oh, they've never had it in the US
America.
Before. Okay, right. There's my confusion. Okay.
Yeah, I went to Embedded World it was in April in Nuremberg, Germany.
That's right. Yeah.
This is going to be different. I'm excited personally. I'm a little bit worried that it's going to flop because at this point, I mean, we talked about on the show before. There's not really any trade shows in the U.S. for electronics anymore. You could say DesignCon is
right.
It's not my favorite show. That's really not major. Actually, that's made for the people that are doing high-speed design and stuff like that. It's just not me. But there's no general electronics and embedded kind of thing of scale anymore. I'd say the closest is probably like an ad hoc thing, which is CES in January.
Right. Well, that's not a thing.
Vegas.
That's not a thing for our industry, really. Although companies do go.
It becomes like that because it's like, oh, you're going to be, well, yeah, we're going to be there because everybody else is there, right?
Because everyone else is there, yes, but it's not an electronic-specific industry. Like, it's not it's a consumer thing. It
is a consumer thing
in the name.
Because every chip vendor's there, right?
It becomes exactly. I know. It becomes a de facto design thing.
Right. We're talking about Keysight and Regal and stuff like that. And okay, fine. They're going to show off their new stuff, even though they're not consumer. They're going to try and talk to all the engineers that are there, so they all feel like they have to be there. It's this weird see and be seen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fine, but I don't want to go to Vegas. I freaking hate Vegas. Everybody gets sick.
Vegas
Everybody gets COVID.
Suck. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just yuck. And it's January. It's not that warm, despite it being January. Vegas. Like I don't know. If it was like
Vegas was warm
in Miami, why not Miami?
I don't know.
Because they don't have huge hotels like they do in Vegas, right?
Really?
In convention. Yeah. Okay. It's a logistics thing. There's only so many places in the States where you can have these big conferences like this.
Right.
Vegas is one. New Orleans tries to play like that. There's some Bay Area sort of, but not Bay Area, but like South Bay, like Santa Clara. Yeah, sort of.
Yes, I've been to the one at Santa Clara, and they're not huge. They're just like ordinary large hotel, conference.
But boy, is it expensive.
Right.
Yeah. So anyways, so I get it. I get that logistics piece of Vegas. Fine, whatever. I just don't want to be there. So this is going to be interesting. Austin. I moved out of Austin in 2008. I went back very briefly in 2014 for South by Southwest. Mm-hmm. I saw very little of it. So basically, this is going to be like the first time I've been back in the city for like 16 years. Am I doing math right? More than that? Yeah, 16 years. So yeah, very different. Very, very different.
Got it.
And Austin has grown like crazy. So it's going to be really interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing people. So if people are going to be there, I'd love to meet up with you. I'd love to hang out.
Are you just hanging around or do you have a stand there?
I'm actually going to be helping. I'm going to be taking meetings, but then I'm also helping out at the JewelScope stand from Mount Liberty. So past guest of the show, helping with that.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll be around there.
Is that demo. Just to help out a buddy or is that?
Yeah, helping out a buddy. Also doing a demo there. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And cool. It's exciting. So yeah, find the JewelScope stand and you will find the Chris. So
wish I could be there.
Yeah. And if people have the ability to go, I mean, I want there to be a second year of this. I don't know if that's realistic, but if you can go, that's good. That's the kind of thing where it's like,
dude.
Dave, I had a very bad experience. Like, Embedded System Conference went down the toilet. That used to be my favorite, and that was the only other one. And
how many years did that go for?
It was around a long time before I got started. And
okay.
And then it just flopped. It was also it was concurrent with, I don't even remember the name now.
Okay, so they joined with something else to try and save it, did they? Because that often happens. They join up with some other.
Yeah, they joined up with other conferences. Yeah, there was a Sensors one in Chicago. They had different locations, but the real thing was that the production company basically just dropped out and stopped doing it. And then all the chip companies dried up and they just stopped. They just stopped showing up.
For those who don't know, these things don't magically happen. There has to be a production and actual events company behind this that want to do it.
Oh yeah, and like so much money.
Financially viable for them. So it's got to be bigger. And they usually aren't involved in the industry. They just don't care. It's not that they don't care. It's just
they
that
run a bunch of different types of conferences and they just maximize their
the latest, I don't know, horse enthusiast conference. Here we go. They'll just run all these different. They're an event company, so they run events, and
that's right.
If they don't make a return, They've got no...
Drop it.
Yeah.
So it's the ones who... They ended up running Black Hat as well.
Oh,
I forget the name of the company. But anyways, we'll see. It's a huge outlay. And then, again, it's also it's a bootstrapping thing, too. So you're trying to run an event company. I saw this on a very, very, very micro level running KeyCon or KaiCon at the time. But it's basically like, how do you convince someone that you're going to, how do you convince a vendor who might sponsor you to show up when nobody has said they're going to show up yet?
No, it's a total trust. In fact, the vendors have to be willing to
take a chance,
make a loss on it, even though often you can't directly tie sales revenue with your appearance at a said show. It's often, it's just one of those things that they have to sort of do.
Quality of leads and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah. I'm hopeful that it just sticks around, but we'll see.
Cool. Well, everyone turn up.
As part of my demo, I'm going to be doing a bunch of power measurement stuff using a Joule scope, so I'm excited about that. On some of the hardware that is published, I'm going to be doing some network-triggered power modes and stuff like that, and putting cell modems into... Do you know all like the cell modem stuff? I'm honestly not very good with it. How cell modems actually can do power saving.
Oh, okay. No, because I do know that they're a pulsed thing, and the GSM stuff, for example, I think it's, 218 hertz it cycles at? And I've actually done a video on that like 15 years ago about...
I think we're a little past that, but yes.
Yes, right.
I think I remember your video, because weren't you doing it about the power draw of GSM as well? It was like really, really high.
The pulse power currents are very high. Yeah, and then it does it at 218 hertz rate or something, and then that gets into your audio. And the audio chips that go into cell phones have to have this specific, I think it's 218 hertz. I'm probably getting it wrong, 300 or something. Anyway, they've got to have this actual filter in there to filter out the particular switch-in noise, that pulse-in noise. Otherwise, you get this, buzz in your...
218 is that is a note on the piano.
Yep. So, all the... I now have to get the... I now have to get the correct frequency.
Okay. It's almost an A3, right?
Sorry?
A4 is 440, right? That's A4.
It is 217 hertz. I was 1 hertz out.
That's pretty close. That's pretty close.
GSM 217.
That's like a couple of half tones, but below an A.
Anyway, those pulses come. So there are a whole ton of preamps, microphone preamps and stuff like that will come with this filter built in often. So that, so that you don't get this bloody annoying buzz on your cell phone design. So, anyway, we will link you my video on that
I actually don't
later.
have, all the stuff I do these days actually doesn't have, anything with cellular that I do doesn't actually have the capability to do audio.
Right. It's just all data stuff. Yeah.
So they're like the SIM cards are all, IoT SIM cards. There's no actual telephony in the modems, that sort of thing.
So the plan and those cards don't actually support any audio channel at all.
If you did, you'd have to do it in digital format.
Yes, you'd have to do it yourself. Yeah, you'd have to roll your own.
And then reconstruct it, that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, but there's two modes. One is called PSM, that's power save mode, very unique name. And then the other one that you hear about is EDRX, and that one's kind of interesting because it's basically like you send the tower a code. Yeah. And I'm not very good at this still, but you send the tower a code, basically you say, hey, I'm going to go, and there's predefined lengths. You say, I'm going to go to sleep for about 82 seconds.
Right.
So hit me back. And so basically you have these timers and they synchronize, and then there's like windows to wake up so that the device knows when to wake up and the tower knows when to send a ping. Right. But then it's still validated to be on the network and that sort of thing. So
interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting way around it.
Yeah.
That EDRX stands for extended discontinuous reception.
That's
by the
right.
way, for those playing along at home.
And that's made a lot for smart meters and stuff like that too, because you're mostly, it's like super sleepy devices, that sort of thing.
So the cell tower knows when your device is supposed to wake up.
That's right, exactly.
Yes. Yep. So then you can wake up during that time, and then it won't drop you from the service if during the blank periods, because it knows that you aren't going to be on because you're in this power saving mode.
Well, power saving mode is a separate thing though, as well. So PSM is a separate mode.
But if you're not doing anything, if you're not having to receive or transmit during that time, then obviously it's shut down. So
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and some of the newer parts that are out too are like super, super, super low power. So the new Nordic part's super low power. One of the new Sony parts, the ALT 13. Yeah, Sony. Sony Altair, it's called.
There you go.
Yeah. ALT 1350. That thing is a really cool part. That's targeted at the smart meter market. Really, it's like first and foremost.
Right. Yep.
But I forget the specs, but it's like microamps of EDRX style current, like really, really low for being a cell modem. And then it's got like a bunch of other radios in there. It's got a Wi-Fi receiver in there. It's got a 802.15.4.
I've got the data sheet up now. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool
most
part.
Integrated is the banner claim. Most integrated.
Yeah.
Most integrated compared to what? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Geez, it's got a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
and there's
cool.
so many out there. I mean, like, all that stuff.
Speaking of smart meters.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's
perfect segue.
Man, I had a segue lined up too, but you know what? It's your turn. So
Thank you very much.
I can get back to my thing.
All right.
All right. Let's do it.
I'll remind you at the end to get back to your
Okay, great.
segue.
Yeah, right.
All right.
2 minutes left. Chris was going to say something.
I literally have a smart meter now.
Really? Oh.
I
And
upgraded
what does
my
that mean?
old board, my old switchboard at home. You used to have a net metering. So I would have an import meter and an export meter. So I had two separate meters when I installed my solar. So it knows how much I'm importing from the grid and it knows how much I'm exporting. And that was just a manual thing.
They're separate devices?
They're separate meters, physically separate meters, yes.
Oh, interesting.
And you can see it in any of my solar videos where I show my switch panel. I've got two physically separate meters, and somebody has to come along and actually read the number off it and, note it down. So there's no comms in it at all. It's just a dumb smart meter.
Are you talking about the old one now or the new one?
Yes, no, the old one. The old one's a dumb one,
because usually the dumb ones are not referred to as smart meters.
No, they're dumb.
Yeah, we got a baseline.
Baseline net metering. I just had it upgraded to the smart meter now. So I've got one of these newfangled. It's an EDMI. I think that's the EDMI smart meter. That's the company's
That's the brand?
name. That's the brand. Yeah.
Okay.
EDMI smart meter. Yeah, I think it's EDMI. Yes, it is. EDMI, which is a huge brand, and it's got a cell modem thing in it, right? But you can have many different options. You can have a mesh network one, which I think they have in Victoria here. So it's like the various states will be different. Like Victoria will be different than New South Wales. They'll have their own standards, for these sorts of things.
I mean, the lack of contiguous nature between, it's like a Wild West sometimes too. Like, literally in Texas, the grid is completely separate from the rest of the United States.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And that's just in the States. And then, you go to different countries and, Japan has different phases and different frequencies. And it's like so much history and weirdness, Yeah.
No, even though our states are physically connected, the actual grids in our states are physically connected. No, they have different smart meter standards. Anyway.
And that often is like power companies too, because you have basically legal monopolies, but then they're like, well, we're big enough, we're going to do our thing, and we're going to define it like this, and screw those other guys.
And it's not the power company that owns, it's not the power company you're with that owns it, it's the line distributor which owns it, like who own the lines and everything, who own the copper and everything. They usually own the meters as well.
I'm not sure
and
that's
then
the case
which
here.
energy provider you go with, it doesn't matter. They don't own the meter. They just read the data from it.
I guess when I think about it here, so where I live, it's Duke Energy, and they own, I guess they are the distribution. But then you're saying that the people you buy your power from, often that's a marketplace.
The people you buy your power from, that's different again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. In fact, that can be different again because there's a company that owns the lines, then there's companies that own the generation plants, and then there's a company that will charge you for the power, and they're all different.
Yeah.
It's
and what's in between all those is spreadsheets.
Right. Yes.
Spreadsheets and billing systems written in COBOL.
That's it. Anyway, so I've got a newfangled smart meter, right? So it's supposed to track time of day usage and all that sort of stuff. So in theory, I could sign up to a plan that has different time of day. So if it offers me cheap energy or zero cost energy at some window during the day, I could charge my EV and my battery using zero cost energy, right? So in theory, that's possible now, but I'm not on that plan yet.
But you generate so much of your own and you store it now too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I store it, and I still got tons of excess. And we're just out of winter here. I'm still pissing away 20 kilowatts hours a day.
It sounds like you should start. You should shut down that pool, open a smelting plant. That's what you should do.
Right. Okay.
If there's one thing that Sydneyites love, it's industrial machinery in backyards.
Right,
right
council approved.
Homes,
absolutely. No problem.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, I've been monitoring this thing. I've had it on for a couple of weeks, right? And there's an EV blog forum thread on this, which I can actually link in.
We'll try and
I will
add that
send
in.
you the link.
Okay.
And I've been monitoring this. So now I get automated.
Who watches The Watchmen? Well,
yes.
People without real jobs. That's the answer.
Right, like me. So I'm watching the data every day, right? Because now I get daily updates. I can't monitor it live, so my energy provider doesn't provide that ability.
So there's like a portal? Or what?
Yes, there's an online portal, and it gives me a daily figure. So it gives me a daily figure of how much I imported and how much I exported from the grid. Okay, so I've been monitoring it daily, and then it was giving me 1 kilowatt hour a day or something like 1.8 kilowatt hours a day. I was still importing, right? So I was still importing energy. I can actually show you. I'll send you a image. Here you go. I'll send you a image. Anyway, I'll try to send you an image.
All right.
And then I was looking at all my other data because I log, I have other solar monitoring systems.
Tracking and
I have everything
through the panels, through the battery system.
And then I'm looking at it and I'm going, I shouldn't be importing any energy at all because my battery doesn't discharge. So my battery should be able to provide all of my energy requirements.
I have a guess here, but I think it's a kind of a crazy guess.
No, give it to me.
Is it the power that the power company requires that they run the smart meter off their power and that they're charging you for that?
It could be very close. Well, this smart meter, no, because we're talking about 50 watts here. We're talking about 60 watts or something.
Oh, 60 watts.
60 watt discreppancy here.
Wait,
right?
How much? Oh, sorry. I didn't catch that. So I think you said kilowatts. I think you said 1.5
Oh, yes.
kilowatts.
About 1.8 kilowatt hours per day, but you've got to divide that by 24 hours. Right.
Got it, kilowatt hours.
Right.
Yeah, classic.
So it turns out to about 60 odd watts, right? Sort of continuous average somewhere.
60 is pretty high for a meter,
That's a fair bit, right? So it's not I don't think it's the meter because 60 watts, geez, it's only a small little thing.
It's like 5 amps at 12 volts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like that would
nuts,
be pretty toasty.
Yeah, it'd be very toasty. So anyway, I was guessing, like people were on the forum were guessing what this is, and the general consensus seems to be it's probably your battery inverter, right? Because they have this on-grid trickle feature where you can actually program how many watts is set so that it keeps a continuous grid connection. But mine was set to 5 watts. Mine was set to 5 watts. So you don't get powered
down? Is that the idea?
So it doesn't think it's not joined to the grid and it.
Got it. It thinks it's like a dead connection.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So there needs to be some sort of small amount of energy it takes to know that it's still on the grid, right? So I thought maybe the battery's not providing that and the grid's actually providing that and I'm not seeing that on my other monitoring systems. And but it was set to 5 watts. So I changed it in the last 5 days ago. I changed it to 50 watts to see if I'd see an increase. And I did see a bit of an increase, but it wasn't, it was like 1/5 of what I expected. So I still don't know what the hell is causing this.
You wouldn't be able to do this with like a current clamp or anything like that, right? I mean, like this isn't.
I'd have to get behind my switchboard and actually insert,
14-bit ADC. That's
right, 14-bit ADC and a kick-ass current clamp. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so just to think about. So you have power coming from the local grid coming through your smart grid. Through your smart meter. To your board, you're saying, right? This is just net import to your distribution panel.
Yep.
And you would need to then see that going in that same direction. So
yes, I'd need to see it going in the same direction. Yeah,
basically at 240.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I've physically got a clamp for the energy flowing out, and I'm not seeing it. So I don't.
Energy flowing out of what? Out of your whole system, or what?
Yeah. I am not seeing anything flow out to the grid, which is what they is flowing in from the grid, which is what they claim is happening, and they're charging me for it, right? Sure, it's only a small amount. It's only, I don't know, cents. It's only tens of cents, right, per per day. It's not much, but still, I want to know why it's not zero. And somebody in the EV blog forum thread, they actually design energy meters. And they said, and they worked out the calcs, and maybe it could be within inside the 1% tolerance of the meter. And it's like, oh, geez, okay. Well,
maybe, you know what it really is, Dave? You really got to put on your tinfoil hat and be like, it's cents for you, but multiply it by every customer.
Oh, yeah, multiply it by everyone. And
we're talking real money.
Superman.
It's Superman 3. Yeah, it's Superman 3.
Superman 3.
Or the Office Space, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
we put it into account. It's ours. Yeah.
So, anyway, so it's interesting. Still have not figured out what the deal is there.
What
the deal is? But it could just be the residual.
Is the deal?
What?
What is the deal? And we found our show title.
Oh, what is the deal? Yes. Okay, got it.
Yep.
All right, I've just sent you an EV blog forum link which has the image on there of my daily thing. And there's this small residual.
How's your battery system going? Is that...
Yeah, it's great.
No problem.
It's great. Yeah, before we did the upgrade, when I originally had 15 kilowatt hour capacity, that just wasn't quite enough to handle some of our nighttime needs. But now I upgraded it to 25. We have never, the battery's always done, haven't even got close to running out. So maybe there might be some freak day where, I don't know, we have to panic and we have to charge the EV and we have to run the oven for 10 hours and we have to run the dryer because it's rained and we have to, I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty good. So 25 kilowatt hour battery at 80%, because I've only set it to use 80% of that capacity just to extend its life.
Sure.
So that seems to be enough.
I do that on my EV. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Yeah, so that seems to be enough. So
that's great.
Very happy.
That's really great. Yeah.
But come summertime, I don't know what I'm going to do with the excess energy.
I'm telling you, smelting. Yeah.
I can't even dump it into the pool. I'm already doing that, and still I'm getting up to 20 kilowatt hours a day.
You don't want the pool to be super hot though either, right?
Yeah, especially during summer, you can't dump it.
What if this, Dave? What if you helped climate change and you just air condition the outside?
Air conditioning. Outside. No worries. I'll change the orientation of my.
I'm doing my part. Straight up in the air.
Just reverse that aircon and face it outwards.
Yeah.
And yep. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And then you dump heat into the house, and what do you do with that heat in the house? You air condition it with the other air cons that are in there.
So I can just
Boom.
Yeah,
it's like some kind of like perpetual machine for energy, right? Yeah.
Because damn it, the grid's not going to get it. I'm going to piss it away myself. Thank you very much.
What are the resale rates at these days?
8
anything
cents. Or no? 8 cents per kilowatt hour, 7 cents. Maybe with this new smart meter, I might be able to find
a long extension cord and broker your own deals to
with
a smelting
neighbors.
plant.
Yeah.
Well, your neighbor's smelting. Yeah, smelting.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway. Anyway, there are other options, so I will investigate other plans which I might potentially be able to do.
Yeah, Bitcoin mining, that's like an energy intensive thing.
I can dump the Bitcoin,
It generates heat, again, same problem.
Yeah, right. Oh, well, just use more energy to even cool that down.
Yeah.
No
Our mutual friend Martin Lorton, he's got a Bitcoin miner as a heater in his shed.
He's actually still doing that, is he?
Yeah.
Right, because usually these days it's not very. These days it's not very profitable. You basically have to have free energy for it to be profitable.
Yeah.
Well,
it sounds like you have excess. Yeah.
I have excess free energy.
You should box it up, send it to North Carolina. He can open it, use it. Yeah. There you go.
All right. Anyway, I'm kind of annoyed that there's this offset thing there. And it might be explained by the design of the unit.
Hairs. I think you might be splitting hairs, but you know what?
But I'm paying like 50 cents a day for it or something.
50 cents? You said cents. I
thought no. It's tens of
Aussie cents.
Like,
too. Yeah.
It's, tens of cents.
Okay.
No, that's like I'm staring at one day here is 59 cents.
Yeah.
For 59 cents for 1.87 kilowatt hours.
What does a kilowatt hour cost there?
30 cents, something like that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. On my current plan, my current fixed plan.
Yeah.
So that's,
Got it.
So anyway, I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, I have stepped into the 1990s and I've gotten myself a smart meter. So
got it.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I have stepped into
what's your segue? Hang on. Is this your segue?
I'm in the middle of it. Come on, man. Give me a friggin' break. Give me a chance. Take a chance on me. All right. I have stepped into I actually don't know when this came out. I have stepped into the 2010s, maybe. Excellent. I have been messing around. This is something you've already told me you don't care about, but I'm going to talk about it here anyways. I've been messing around with Meshtastic. And I've been trying to explain it to Dave, and he's like, "I don't care."
I will pretend. No, it's not. I don't have a use case. I don't have a need for it. So okay, it's cool.
I don't have a use case for it either, other than to, absorb any spare moments I have outside of being a parent and having a job and pretending that I care about my health.
You see, the difference is that I have a YouTube channel. Okay, that needs to be fed with hours of my time. Which needs to be fed with all my excess hours.
I'm giving you gold. I'm giving you gold here.
Right.
One Jeff Geerling and his father made a video about this. I don't see why you couldn't. Anyway, so Meshtastic is basically a layer on top of LoRa. We've talked about LoRa on the show.
Yes.
A whole bunch, LoRa.
I have tried to use it, and
Dave,
being in Australia, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was. Because you guys have... It was because
we
were talking about
frequency standards, and you need
but that was
firmware.
actually you were setting up a gateway, and the gateway wasn't made for Australia.
Yeah, well,
that was the problem. It was a software problem. It wasn't like a LoRa problem. Or,
no. It was an implementation.
It was a thing. Yeah, I don't remember what it was though. It was like a gateway.
It was something like that. The latest firmware didn't support
Things Network gateway, right?
Is the only thing I remember is that the firmware didn't support the local frequency standards here or something.
Was it LoRaWAN though? Was it Things Network? I don't remember what.
It was the Things Network.
Yeah, it was. Okay. So it was one of the gateways for the Things Network. But and I think now there's better support. Like that project has continued on as well. That's a community project. But the Things Industries is a industrial thing on top of it where you can license a full server to do that sort of thing. So LoRaWAN and LoRa are different things. LoRaWAN is built on LoRa. LoRa is a radio topology, I guess. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But what I really think about is Semtech chips, right? Semtech chips is a very common thing. They basically have this IP based on the idea that you're sending out chirps, and then you can stretch the chirps out to, and they chirp up or they chirp down. Many great videos out there about how it works, and I should watch more of them. But the idea being that you can send low bandwidth, long distance messages to the point where our pal Andreas Spiess has a 240 kilometer, I think it was 240. It was like some really long distance. It has to be line of sight, but it has to. It basically, if you get up high enough, like on a mountain, like Andreas did, you can basically send to around the curvature of the Earth, and you can get a good distance with a high gain antenna, and you spread this. It's called the spreading factor, SF. You'll see it looks like SF12 is spread way the hell out, and you only get a couple of bits per second. Fine, but then you take a long time to transmit. Then on the other end, when you're receiving that sort of thing, if you're on the right spreading factor as well, you wait around for this message, and then you can reconstruct it, and there you go. I think Dave would say Bob's your uncle. So
indeed,
that's LoRa generally, right? I've known about this a long time. There's gobs and gobs of projects and libraries. I have some Adafruit breakouts here. Hope RF modules, people will see as well. That has a Hope RF module is like a $5 module that has a Semtech chip on it with some radio stuff. Yeah, people have probably heard about it. I've got tons and tons of LoRa boards around, but the limitation for me has always been firmware because I can write it myself and I can follow. I can go get a library and there's I forget what it's called. It's called Radiohead, I think, the library for it, and I can follow Arduino tutorials, but it's not that complicated. It's not that what's it called?
Polished.
Yeah, it's not polished, but it's also like you can't do that much with it because it's still truly point to point. And so then you can start to layer different channels on top, and you could potentially get a receiver. You can have up to 8 channels and get a receiver and do that sort of thing, But again, it's all bespoke at that point, right? It's not standard. So now, I don't know the history of the project. I started watching YouTube videos about it. And now I have some hardware. And I've had these Heltec boards before as well. These are like $15, $20 boards where it's just an ESP32 and a Semtech chip on it. Well, the V3 is now supported by Meshtastic. So Meshtastic, now we're at the Meshtastic project. So basically there's a bunch of people writing both an app and then firmware across different boards. And so it supports a bunch of different hardware. So LilyGo makes some hardware, Seed Studio makes some hardware. There's just different hardware makers out there doing this sort of thing. Rack Wireless makes a bunch of great hardware too. And they actually make it now with ESP32. They make it with nRF52840. So like that's a Bluetooth chip, that Cortex M4. So a bunch of different hardware. This is a community project now. So you can go and just either drag and drop firmware or use the online flashing tool to go and flash this hardware. And now what I have in front of me, I'm trying to describe it. It's a Heltec board, a Heltec V3, $20. There's a UFL to SMA converter, so I have cable to an antenna. I have a moderate gain antenna for US frequencies, in my case, 915 megahertz, which is the ISM band. And then what it does is the ESP32 sets up as a Bluetooth interface. And then from my phone, there is a Meshtastic app. And from the app, you can then
send a message, right? You can send a message over Bluetooth to the...
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
To the transmitter, and then the transmitter. Yeah, so anyone else on the network. How do you see other people on the network? Well, is it like an open list of people?
Yeah, so the other thing you can do is you can configure, right? So now you're in the app, you're in the Meshtastic app, you have control of all the different characteristics. Basically, there's like a bunch of registers, but really it's been simplified to more of like different styles of sending, obviously what region you're in. So Dave, when you set one up, you would set it up for Australia, and it's actually the same chipset, but it would be 904 megahertz in Australia, but you'd still be talking Bluetooth to it. So you'd be using the same app and infrastructure in that way, and you then would be able to, so you set up that sort of thing. And then there's open channels with a shared key, or so say Dave and I were in the same city and we're on the same region, so we both say Dave's here.
Text message to each other.
Yes, but we could also...
Via our shoe phones.
No, but here's the other thing. We could also set up so this is an open channel, right? ISM band is industrial and scientific band, and it's open, right? Anyone can use it. And you don't need to have a license. It's unlicensed as well. So that means anyone could see it as well, right? So you are sending that sort of thing. But with Meshtastic, you can also exchange keys, right? So Dave and I can basically scan a QR code, have an encryption key, and now we're sending encrypted traffic over that same channel, which is interesting, right? So basically now we're just talking point to point, right? So Dave's phone talks to his Meshtastic node. It translates, it basically talks Bluetooth. Bluetooth controls the LoRa radio, sends out at the whatever spreading factor and frequency that it needs to. Mine, as long as it's set at the same thing, receives it, pings it to my phone, or actually I have one with a screen on it and a keyboard.
Okay.
That's fine. Now, the other thing, though, is that it's also meshing capability so that it'll do up to 3 hops. So now, Dave, with his unlimited power at his house,
I assumed it was unlimited hops. You're saying there's only 3.
You can set it. You could set it. But the idea being that you're also forwarding other people's traffic along too.
Oh, right? Yeah, of course. Your radio becomes like a packet forwarding thing.
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
And so, but the thinking about the idea of for $20, effectively, right? And obviously there's other electronics. If you're going to make it more fancy, have it solar, whatever, you could start to set up nodes. Say you're on a farm, you could start to set up your own mesh network and have, you could have messaging across your whole property, whereas you might not have any connectivity, and Wi-Fi is not a good option for that.
No, because it's power hungry.
Yeah. And so Dave, you had said when we started talking about this, UHF is good, but you might not actually be able to get that distance without vocal repeater. You could have UHF repeaters as well.
I was talking about voice because you tried to sell it to me as something for a prepper.
Totally. I actually do think, I think that's the other thing. So like a lot of, so it's interesting seeing who's getting into this field. There are, I would say the prepper archetype is interested, maybe because
they could be. They set up a mesh network with their other prepper friends,
sure,
kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's, and maybe that's a overstatement of what the people that I'm thinking about. I'm really thinking about people that are like absolute freedom. I don't want to have anyone peeking into my messages regardless of channel, that sort of thing. So okay, fine. You and your friends want to talk about something on a completely encrypted channel aside from the limits of cryptography. Yeah, you could do that. Even Signal goes, you might be encrypting at your phone, but
but it goes over via the cellular network, which is all sucked up into those giant.
It's going through the internet at some point, and Yeah, and not to sound
Hi
like
to our friends at the National Security Agency.
I was going to say, not to sound like a crazy
right.
person, but someone told me the other day, they're like, yeah, if you were the NSA, you could just capture all that traffic, and once computers get powerful enough, you just go and decrypt it all.
Yes,
it's like, oh my God,
they actually decrypt
I never thought
it
of
later.
that.
Yes,
that's
they
wild.
don't have to do it live. They can. They can do it later.
Do it in arrears.
So if they're probably listening to us now, they're probably thinking,
well, we're not encrypted.
Wow,
so, yeah.
we didn't think about LoRa. We should be monitoring that too.
I'm sure that's the thing though. You could set up an SDR and you could just capture all this traffic too, right? There is no completely secure channel, never ever, right? There's just as long as if you watch Silicon Valley, if the AI figures out every encryption key, you're hosed no matter what. There's always brute force methods, but yeah, it's probably not worth it to capture, Chris sending from one radio on his desk to another radio on his desk, test 4. That you might be a little underwhelmed when you decrypt that packet.
Yeah. Damn, we just expended a week and 500
how much compute
megawatts of power decrypting this.
If NSA, if you're looking for some extra power, I hear Dave has some.
Yeah. Totally.
You could donate it, Dave.
I could donate it to the NSA, is what you're saying, or the Australian ASIO equivalent, I guess.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Guys,
Pine
I bet
Gap.
you don't have those resources.
Pine Gap out there,
Yeah, there you go. So anyways, I think it's fun. And so the things I like about it, one, there's the radio aspect, and it really just is an unlock on, all of the stuff that it does, you could have done on your own. But it's enabling it for people that maybe could have done it, like ourselves, but we never ever would have because of time and scale, honestly, too. But then it also opens up other people, and you might be, so then now people are coming into let's say hobby, right? And they're adding to kind of generic meshing as well. So there's also these open channels where people are forwarding messages along, and it's almost like, I won't say it's a revival of ham because it's not ham, right? It's not licensed, but it
isn't voice. So
it's not voice. Well, I mean, there's digital modes in ham as well, but it's not even hard. That's the thing. It's literally like buy it and toy with it, and that's what I like. And you see sort of similar things. So if you follow the Meshtastic subreddit, which is fun, you'll see people transmitting from planes, and then people are getting the messages on grounds on these open channels, and they're like, "Oh, hey, someone's above me 30,000 feet right now." Right. That's pretty fun.
Okay,
right?
I was about to ask, is there a map of people using it? But I found it. It's meshmap.net, I think.
Nice. Okay.
Meshmap. So I'm looking in Sydney. Whoa, there's only one in the northern part of Sydney here. Cool 02. Shout out to Cool 02. Last seen 15 minutes ago. Channel long fast, whatever that is.
So that's like the default. That's like so when you boot up your radio, it's going to be default long fast.
Okay. So if I set one up, I would actually be setting up one in between in a null area in between those two. So there you go.
I think this is also, I'm not sure how this is reporting back here though. I don't know how this is capturing
I
this
don't know
stuff.
how Meshmap works.
Yeah,
Is
exactly. If it's like war driving, it's like someone's reporting back. Yeah. So then there's also, it also has like an MQTT backend, which is kind of cool. But say Dave and I both, so say I set up a mesh here in Durham and Dave set one in Sydney, even a custom, an encrypted one. You could also then forward that traffic along over MQTT. So basically an internet backhaul, which again happens in ham all the time. All of these things are just rehashes of the same thing. But then basically, I'm sending out just a generic message to the Durham channel that also then gets piped over MQTT to Sydney, and Dave wakes up to a test 5.
Wow, can't wait.
Yeah, I know. The thing that's interesting about this is distance, right? It really becomes a distance thing because it's, the ham folks, how about that? You're on a 2-meter band or something like that. You can get some ionosphere bounce and you could really get some distance. This is not going to be that, right? I mean, this is going to be, kilometers, not going to be.
Right. So how is this different to the one that I played around with a couple of years back? That was LoRa, right? But I was using
LoRaWAN. That was
LoRaWAN. So that's different.
Yes.
So I couldn't even use my existing hardware that I've got.
I don't know. You could look it up. Probably not. I mean, I'd probably a safe assumption it's not. Because this is all just targeting low-cost hardware.
That was the Things network, right? That was that Things network thing, so which is different to this.
Yeah. So that's a good comparison.
So there's two competing standards here?
They're different, though. Nah, they're different.
No.
So the Things network, LoRaWAN generally, uses LoRa, right? Like we're talking about here. And really, it's meant as a networking mechanism for low-powered sensors, right? So now it's not necessarily, you probably could have them interoperate, but what I think about is like a temperature sensor sitting in the middle of a field, just bleeping out every hour 23C, right? Something like that. And then when it got set up, it got an encryption key. And then the gateway that you were running basically was running a bunch of software and controlling the gateway node and all the receiver on there, probably a multi-channel receiver, basically saying, hey, any traffic I see, I'm going to forward along over this network. And if I recognize the key is the key that's being presented along with this data packet is going to show, and it's like multiple layers of encryption there, but the outermost key is going to say, hey, this is allowed to be on this specific network. I'm going to forward the traffic along and not just drop the packet. And then it's still encrypted underneath that. And then finally, it's like I forget the topology, but there's I think they call it a network server and an application server. But basically, it's like a gateway receives packets, and you can have multiple gateways receiving, and then it forwards it along to basically kind of like a database backend. And then you're going to see, you as an application developer is trying to see, oh, look, temperature sensor 25 said that the temperature was 23 at 10:20 p.m. in Durham, North Carolina, right? So then that's at the internet level. That's already on the internet now. And then you could also send data down in the other direction as well, right? It is bidirectional. That's more of like a centralized kind of method utilizing multiple layers of encryption, but still it's all lower at the end. So the idea being that it's like it's basically like giving quote unquote internet to a very, very tiny low power thing. Whereas what Meshtastic is literally allowing you to set up a mesh. Now you could set up, there are sensor nodes that can work on Meshtastic as well. So if you wanted to, you could just say, so now that same temperature sensor that's sitting in the middle of a field in Durham, if you can find a field in Durham, it could also be on the long fast network and just be bleeping out the temperature's 23, and then that packet might get hopped along, but it's not going to go anywhere unless you have a receiver also on that network and saying, oh, look, I got a new temperature reading. Now I'm going to put that on the internet, right? So like you could have a computer that's listening, but it's much more ad hoc, I feel like. Right.
So if I want to play with this, I need one of these. I'm on the Get Start page, and they recommend the LilyGo.
Okay, sure.
They recommend that, and I'm at the page for that. That's like $15, and it's available in 433 megahertz, 868 megahertz, 915 megahertz, 923 megahertz. Which one do I need?
Oh, is it 9? I don't know what the Aussie one is. I thought it was 904 in Australia, but maybe it's 923.
Well, it's not. There's no 904 option. It's 915
well, here's
or
the thing. So the
923.
868 and the 915, they're the same radio. That's the thing.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but I don't want to.
But it's literally like on configuration, you would just turn it to Australian. You would just set the region to Australia, and it'd be like, oh, whatever the frequency is.
There's actually a region setting, is there?
Yeah, that's the first thing you have to do. You have to set the region. When it boots up, it just says unset. And then when you connect it with the first time, it's like, oh, you need a region, or else I don't know what you could set it to EU here, right? And you'd be on 868, but you're probably stomping on some, I don't know, there's probably some, I don't know, license band, but probably some other band that's using 868 in the US.
Right.
You're not gonna find anyone. You're not gonna talk to anyone.
I don't know. I would say scarred from my previous experience.
Yeah. This is a lot easier than I think than the other stuff, and cheaper. Yep. That's the other thing. Yours was not super cheap.
Oh yeah, no, it was a few $100.
Yeah.
It wasn't cheap at all, whereas these things look really cheap.
Yeah, you can charge that against the amp hour. I feel bad that I suggested it. You got some content out of it, right?
I did get some content, yeah. I don't think I got enough ad revenue back there.
If you're going to buy, anyone who's going to do this, I would say buy two, because
I
haven't found anyone in the area. Yeah. Well, and it's just so you can test it out, right?
If you buy one and you're waiting if there's no one in the area, yes, you can't just wait for someone else. It's like, who am I talking to?
Yeah, exactly. And so,
like I could potentially go between the lab here and home, for example.
Yeah, what is the rough distance? Is it?
Oh, we're talking a few Ks. So
that might be on the limit. You might have to Yeah. So, I mean, you think about going through walls,
especially considering that my lab's in the middle of a concrete building here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I think what's going to be interesting is we're going to see. So the other thing I like about this kind of as a hobby is it kind of pulls together other things, right? So 3D printing's fun. There's a bunch of great designs on Thingiverse and the whatever the Prusa site is called, and like you can just go download them and play around with them, and they're super fun. So that's one, right? You have a 3D printer. I have a 3D printer, and there's the radio piece, but then there's also the kind of like the everything else piece, right? there's a lot of people that are setting up battery charging and solar and just making, because there really is a very legitimate use case for setting up one of these things to just be a node that's just hanging out and sipping a little power and forwarding messages along. You know what I mean? And if you set up enough of those, I'm not saying it's like a thing you have to do, but if you set up enough of those, you really could start to blanket coverage in different areas. And I think that's fun. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think our amp power's up.
It is.
Completely sucked it up with.
I stomped. Yep. I stomped on the bandwidth of this one. Yeah. It's fun. I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know.
Excellent. I'm happy for you.
I'm also excited. I'm going to be doing another live stream on. Oh, this won't be out in time. Never mind. I've been doing live streams on Wednesdays or Thursdays, so on the Goliath account. I think I mentioned it last time.
Yep.
So people want to stop by? Great. If not, no problem.
Cool bananas. And that's on the YouTubes, is it only?
That's on the YouTubes, yep. And right. LinkedIn, but you said you didn't like that. So
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So if you're going to do this, I'd say check out the Meshtastic docs. I would check out the Meshtastic subreddit. And then, like Dave said, there's a flasher tool even. So I would recommend an ESP32 one, like a Heltec V3, great starting board, super cheap, $40, and you're in. So let me know
the other
if you're going to do it.
$20. Sorry, the other board's $15.
Is it ESP32C3? ESP32 is a web-based flasher, which is also awesome. You literally
I'll send you a link. Here it is here. Here it is here.
You plug it in, it's web serial. It's like, oh, I see it. And then it just programs it for you. Like, that's a cool thing.
I don't know. I just went to their getting started guide and said, buy this thing, and there it is.
That was probably great then. Yeah, it's probably the way to go. Oh, yeah, the V2. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, the LoRa 32. Cool.
All right.
All right, man. Well, let me know if you do it. Good luck.
All right.
All right.
Catch you next time.
See ya.